It is time for community questions. This is where I answer questions sent to me by you, my lovely followers, listeners, and viewers. Sometimes it's about the podcast, sometimes it's about history, and other times you're just curious about my opinion on things. You curious people, you. This week we're answering the question, do you think Shakespeare belongs in the English department? This one's going to get me into some hot water, so thank you very much, dear followers, for coming at me with the controversy this week. Let's start by saying that I hold a degree in English from the University of Montevallo. I took every Shakespeare class that was offered when I was in school, and I was only a couple of classes away from a minor in history. So I love academics, universities, and I enjoyed my time there. That doesn't make universities flawless places, however, and I do have a bit of an opinion when it comes to Shakespeare. With the exception of Shakespeare's sonnets, which are poems and rightfully belong in the category of English studies, Shakespeare's plays belong in the theater department, and the history of William Shakespeare and his time period belong, of course, in the history department. Shakespeare studies, in my opinion, really is a great opportunity for a strong interdisciplinary foundation. It could be you could partner with a lot of different departments and even different universities to have, Shakespeare. In my mind, that's what Shakespeare studies really should be. And there's a major opportunity being unutilized, or at least underutilized, in that regard. It's been surprising to me that there aren't more Shakespeare scholars spread out among various departments, depending on which part of Shakespeare studies they want to pursue. I think overall, this has led to a dilution of study of, especially of Shakespeare. I know that academics and professors have to write what the university is going to pay for, and the research dollars are in what's ever hot and trendy at the moment. So that's led to what I think is a lot of important work not getting pursued. I've seen a lot of really great tangible history Shakespeare works that were written about in the 30s or 40s. And of course, those scholars have passed away at this point, and there isn't really anybody taking up their mantle. There's a lot of areas of Shakespeare study that has just gotten left on the threshing floor, as it were, and nobody's really picked it up to carry it onward and forward. And they opt instead for more modern topics like gender studies or ego criticism of the text of Shakespeare's plays. And I'm not trying to poo-poo on those areas of study. I'm just saying, I get how those are popular and you have to go, you're constantly pursuing tenure and you're having to write what university is going to pay for and support. I get that. But just speaking as a Shakespeare historian, someone who loves to study the life and times of William Shakespeare, I feel like Shakespeare being relegated just to the English department in this kind of exclusive way that he typically is does a disservice to Shakespeare. And there's identifiable gaps, and I would call them lamentable deficits in the study of Shakespeare overall that could be much more robust. It could definitely be cross-cultural and interdisciplinary in a much bigger, broader, and more connected way than I think it is most of the time. Definitely, and when it comes to the history and culture of his time, I mean, of course, he was in Europe. There's all kinds of cultural things that you could connect to Shakespeare, and it could be really in-depth and more accurate if we were to be a little freer to spread him across different departments and not just keep him in the English department. I'll end there, but hopefully that answers your question about what I think about Shakespeare and the English department. If you have a question, controversial or not, that you would like me to answer on the show, drop me a line. You can comment here on YouTube. I do read all of those. You can also send me a message at CassidyCash.com or come find me on socials. I'm on X and Instagram. I'm also technically on Blue Sky, but I'll just be honest, I don't read those messages as fast, so probably the fastest way would be just to comment right here on YouTube. Let me know what you'd like to know about, and maybe I'll answer your question in the next episode. That's it for this week. Thank you for watching. I'm Cassidy Cash, and I hope you learned something new about the Bard. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. If you like walking around in turn of the 17th century England to see the sights, smell the smells, play the games, and maybe even haunt an old theater or two, then this is the place for you. Hit that notification bell so you can be sure to join us on our next adventure. I'll see you in the next episode.